Hey everyone, this is RC77 Oracle. I thought it would be fun to do the next chapter of my book, The Great Awakening, the signs and symbols, how spirit communicates, with me sitting in bed with my cup of coffee. And I will go ahead and read you that chapter. It's early in the morning on Tuesday. So, how your team and spirit communicates with you is unique to you and nobody else. My team communicates through dreams, objects, songs, feelings, repeating numbers, animals, and so much more. I learned slowly over the last few years how to decipher the meaning of repeated signs and symbols given to me while awake and dreaming. When my dreams exploded in 2020, I intuitively started a dream journal, writing down but not understanding why I remembered certain objects, places, and people. When the same objects, places repeated in my dreams, I really started to pay attention. On December 21st, 2022, I had awoken from a dream that would become a huge stepping stone on kickstarting spiritual development classes. I wrote in my journal that I had just met another spirit guide. In my dream, I was racing my Forerunner, who I named Magic, down I-15, passing other cars along the way, switching lanes until I found myself outside of city limits. It felt like I was in Benjamin, Utah, Viva early 2000s. A small rural lake town. The city and the area have since grown. Anyways, I decided it was time to turn around. I got off at exit 8, which was Psalms, and found myself waiting at a light on a one-way bridge that I had to cross over to get to the freeway entrance to take me back to Salt Lake City. While I was waiting, which felt like a long time, meaning I was aware, alert, and thinking in my mind, don't wait for the light to change. The bridge is not long, maybe 3-4 car lengths long. No, I told myself to patiently wait. I glanced in my rearview mirror as an old truck with its lights on pulled up behind me. Finally, I spoke out loud. The light has turned green. I crossed over the bridge, ready to speed my way back onto the freeway. However, I was no longer in my vehicle. I was on foot at the entrance ramp. I was bare feet, no shoes, what the blank. There was an old man, rosy cheeks, no hair on his head, weird hat known as a flat cap, and a gray dress coat. He was walking next to me. He said to me, "Kid, let's not be in a hurry. You need to slow down." And he smiled at me. Now, fast forward, it was sometime during summer of 2023 that my cell phone randomly started playing a YouTube channel. During that video, a woman talked about her father, a red truck, and something he always said to her. "Kid, let's not be in a hurry, slow down." She mentioned she would be doing a few more medium tarot readings. A few spots were still available if interested, and she was also taking sign-ups for spiritual development group classes. Hearing her voice, the image of the old man popped up in my head. I felt instantly this woman was a step forward on my path of opening that door. Now, don't get me wrong. I did not trust myself or my spirit team 100% at that time back then. So on September 25th, 2023, I booked and paid for a medium reading. I wanted to test my inner knowledge or inner guidance. In secret, I made a pact with my deceased boyfriend. If I was supposed to sign up for the spiritual development classes through this woman, I needed a sign from him. Up until the last minute, I was thinking this was a waste. She was only giving me names, which she could easily have found online. Come on, my last name is Zipka. This is not common. Anticipation until the very end, she said, "Wait, I have a popular 80s heartthrob name coming through." I was excited as hell. My boyfriend did show me the sign I was asking for. I know all of you are probably like, "Who's the heartthrob?" I will leave it up to you, the reader, to guess. I will give you a few hints. This heartthrob was in a movie in the 80s. The movie was filmed in Lehi, Utah, and it happens to also be the title of my mother's favorite song. Now back to my story. It was that exact moment I knew I had to inquire about the spiritual gift development classes for $555. Normally, she said the classes are group, not individual, but she was willing to work with my schedule. I wanted to better understand my gifts that I can't explain. Now let's go on my journey of the start of my mini spiritual classes to come. So there was a total of 5 classes. So the first class, we went over all the clairs. I just nodded and smiled. Everything went over my head. She made a comment that I was psychic. My thoughts were, okay. I did not know the difference between being a psychic or a medium. I just am me. I hear, I see, I know, I smell, I feel, I taste, and I also have vivid dreams. I had homework assigned to me. Since my gifts are strongly found in my dreams, she wanted me to write down what is recurring and constant in all my dreams for that week. That includes places, people, animals, etc. How am I feeling in the dream? Was I scared, happy, sad, etc.? She wanted to know if the dream was past, present, or future. She suggested I start a dream journal. To her surprise, it was something I had unconsciously started a few years back. We both laughed. She wanted all my dreams over the next week written down to discuss in next week's class, bonus homework. She also asked me to write where I wanted to go with my gifts and what I fear when it comes to my gifts. So the second class, we discussed prior week's homework. I realized my dreams are past, present, and future. I am always in a house or building, and when I was in the past, it was a house I grew up on in a street called on a street called Royland Drive. That house is where scary shit happened. It really did. Other than random stuff happening in the house, such as the television and radio turning on and off, volume increasing or decreasing, random knocks on the wall and doors, I used to collect angel figurines. Those figurines would move around my room sometime during the night, or I would wake up and they would be surrounding me on my bed. Now, I saw and felt evil in that house. There was a spirit of a woman who would come into my room and rip the bedding off my bed and block me from escaping my room. This is where my gifts were brought to the surface because of the environment I was living in. When I am in a location in the present, I am the perfect storm, meaning I am the light in the darkness. Any current or residual energy not of this world will be attracted to me. If I'm in a higher self-conscious state, which happens not only in my dream state, but in my awake state when I'm listening to music, I'm usually zoned out cleaning. All my clairs will kick in. Random discussions of the dreams that were not part of the homework. I shared a dream that took place that upset me. The dream is one of my residential clients demanding in my dream as to why I was here at his house in the dream. As I explained the dream and my feelings, she said, "Wait, what?" She asked me if I had conversations or spoke with others before in my dream. I replied, "Not all the time, but yes." That, my friend, is talking to spirit, divine, angels, etc. She replied, "We know your gifts involve your dreams. We have the border of your puzzle, meaning my gifts. Now we're filling in the pieces. I get messages, warning, guidance through talking with spirit in my dreams. I now need to ask spirit to relay and use me as a vessel for messages to help guide others." Aha moment. I am a medium, but I did not realize it until March of 2024. Now, before assigning me this week's homework, she asked, "How are we connected?" Because she's puzzled. I just smiled. The answer will wait until next week. Now, this week's homework was to create an A through Z book to document and feel the meaning of objects in my dreams that have already happened or will happen. The funny thing is, I've already been doing this, but not in a detailed way. The Oracle card deck I have created from pictures that I've taken with my phone over the last few years. The pictures have meanings, feelings, memories attached. I use this deck to give readings, and I use on my YouTube channel, RC77 Oracle. I love my aha moments. Spirit has been communicating with me in my own unique way, and I just had not realized it. Now, the third class. This was not a fun class. Discussing previous week dreams were disturbing. It just did not feel good. This is the week I was in an unknown location in the woods walking barefoot. I felt I was walking over shallow graves that belonged to deceased young women. I had a knowing that this was an unsolved crime. In this dream, I was given an exact spelling of name. Of course, my dream had more detail of people, places, and objects that I will not discuss with you, the reader. As I can say, which goes back to the question from class 1, what do I fear about my gifts? So, class 4. Discussions of what I fear about my gifts. What is the fear in reality? To be honest, I feel I'm inviting evil in, that I will become a walking target that evil follows. From previous weeks, my thoughts are, if this is what gifts are about, count me out. I have seen and felt evil. I've seen objects move, doors slam on their own, heard voices out loud, and it scares the shit out of me. And being honest, sometimes I'm afraid to speak up when I have a warning or to share with others that I already know things that are about to take place or happen. I don't like being called crazy or being called a witch. I hate being judged or looked at different. I know this is my mindset, and this is something that is holding me back, and that I need to learn to face it, to release it, and go and let go to move forward in confidence. That is why it's important to seek out like-minded people so you can validate each other's personal experiences, learn and grow in a safe environment, hence the development classes. In this class, we discussed a particular dream I had over the last week. The dream involved my deceased mother. She was in my kitchen in my current apartment. She asked me what she could help me with. The teacher asked me why I was so upset with that question my mother asked me. If you know me personally, then you know my mother was more of a person of what you could do for her versus her for you in a nutshell. Still puzzled by my reaction, she asked me if I've ever asked spirit, angels, or divine for help for something. I replied, nope. I did not know that was possible. That was next week's homework. It is about time that I now start speaking and asking for help for guidance and messages. She asked me if I had any belongings of deceased loved ones. I replied, yes. She instructed me to touch, hold the objects, and ask for any messages to be given. Looking back now, this homework is preparing me to open that door for more gifts to come. So the final class. Open discussion of where I want to go with my gifts. She lectured me on using spiritual gifts. Gifts are to be used for good. They are not to be used for your personal benefit to enhance your life or the life of others. Meaning, if I know a certain slot machine is going to hit and I just don't do it. Let your gifts come naturally. Gifts cannot be summoned or willed. The final note is she wanted me to contact her once I see an owl in my dreams. I have not contacted her since. I have been seeing an owl in my dreams, and when I just close my eyes and also when I close my eyes frequently. My thoughts and reflections of my first ever spiritual development class was overwhelming. By taking that leap, I felt validated, but left realizing there's so much more that will come to the surface that I never thought was possible. I must learn to release and go with the flow to enjoy the journey of becoming who I am meant to be. I am a bright light for others. I am here to guide and share my knowledge and experience. I am here to inspire others in developing, accepting, and moving into who they want to be and how they want to use their own gifts. So that is that chapter. For you people wondering who the 80s heartthrob was, it was Kevin Bacon. And this is a picture of my deceased boyfriend when he was in his early 20s. So he does have that resemblance. I wanted to share too, this is my A through Z book that I write down objects as well as basically it's your dream interpretation book. Like like a lot of people will have dreams and they'll go online and read what other people think the dream is about. That's fine and dandy. I encourage you that's to feel and know what the meaning is for you, like, because it's spirit that's talking directly to you. So one of my most recent dreams, I was driving on a wrong way road and I was coming towards traffic, and it took me about a day and a half to just ponder over that dream. But where it was 3 lanes and 3 cars that were slowly coming at me, I know there's 3 obstacles that are going to be coming at me in the future, because it is a future dream. I was in my forerunner at the time in that dream. If you want to know more about that dream, you can find me at Substack, and I'll put the link in my bio. But Substack is where I do write down some of my most recent dreams that do have meanings. But going back to this chapter of the book, I know the last several weeks I've come across people that are in fear. They know they have gifts, they just don't know where to start. One of my good friends, Sam, he just moved back to Utah, and I know in the month of January he is going to start some spiritual development classes. It's not going to be expensive like the 555, but if that is something you're interested in, and of course I will have some input on some of those classes, like the feedback and stuff, and I might be attending those classes as well. So I encourage you, if you're noticing you do have some gifts, but you're unsure where to go, how to develop them and stuff, check us out. We'll be more than happy to help you. And there's nothing to fear. But other than that, thank you so much for hanging out on my channel, and I appreciate it. And if you feel this video could help someone else, go ahead and forward it. But have a great day.